राम हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, जय राधा गिरिधारी राधे, जय राधा रास बिहारी राधे, जय राधा गोविंद राधे, जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा, जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा, गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय, निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल, निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल, जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद, जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव, जय प्रभुपाद की जय हो। Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to all devotees. Today I am going to do Sri Shishtastakam. Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai ho. चेतो दर्पण मार्जनम भव महादावाग्नि निर्वापणम, श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणम विद्यावधू जीवनम, आनंदं बुद्धिवर्धनम प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं, सर्वात्मा स्वपनं परम विजयते श्री कृष्ण संकीर्तनम, नामनामकारी बहुधा निज सर्वशक्ति, तत्रार्पिता नियमित स्मरणेन कालः, एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि, दुर्दैवनिग्रहाशनी नानुरागः, तृणादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना, अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीय सदा हरिः, न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये, मम जन्मनीश्वरे भवतात् भक्तिरहेतुकी त्वयि, अयि नन्दतनूज किङ्करं पतितं वा विषमे भवाम्बुधो, कृपया तव पादपङ्कज स्थितधूलि सदृशं विचिन्तयः, नयनमगलदश्रुधारया वदनं गदगदहृदया गिरा, कुलैर्चिन्तमवपु कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति, युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्राउषायितं, शून्यायितं जगत सर्वं गोविन्द विरहेण मे, आश्लिष्य वा पादरतां पिनोस्तु माम्, अदर्शनान् मर्महता करोतु वा, यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पटो मत प्राणनाथस्तु सेवनापरः। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री श्री शिष्टाष्टकम की जय हो, चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय हो, पंचतत्व की जय हो। Today I am going to do Jai Jai Jagannath Sachidanandan, Sri Vasudev Ghosh. जय जय जगन्नाथ सच्चिदानंदन, त्रिभुवन करे तारे चरण वंदन। जय जय जगन्नाथ सच्चिदानंदन, त्रिभुवन करे तारे चरण वंदन। नीलांचले शंख चक्र गदा पद्मधर, नदिया नगरे दंड कमंडलुकार। नीलांचले शंख चक्र गदा पद्मधर, नदिया नगरे दंड कमंडलुकार। के हो बोले पूरबे रावण बधिला, गोलोकेर वैभव लीला प्रकाश करिला। के हो बोले पूरबे रावण बधिला, गोलोकेर वैभव लीला प्रकाश करिला। श्री राधार भावे बे गौराय अवतार, हरे कृष्ण नाम गौरा करिला प्रचार। श्री राधार भावे बे गौराय अवतार, हरे कृष्ण नाम गौरा करिला प्रचार। वासुदेव घोष बोले कर जोड़ी हाथ, से गौर से कृष्णा से जगन्नाथ। जय जय जगन्नाथ सच्चिदानंदन, त्रिभुवन करतारे चरण वंदन। त्रिभुवन करतारे चरण वंदन, त्रिभुवन करतारे चरण वंदन। जय वासुदेव घोष की जय हो, चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय हो। हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत प्रणाम टू ऑल डिवोटीज। थैंक यू फॉर सो वंडरफुल सेवा। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, very much. Very nicely done. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare. Welcome back, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, Prabhuji, we are hearing.
Okay, all right, okay. So we'll start with offering our prayers to our Guru Parampara, seeking their mercy and blessings. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha. Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Prema He Radha Krishna Govindam Adi Vishnu. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namo Mahavadanyaya, Krishna Prema Padayate, Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya, Namine Gaur Kishe Namaha. O most beneficent incarnation, you are Krishna himself, appearing as Sri Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu. You've assumed the golden complexion of Srimati Radharani, and you're widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Krishna Varnam Krisha Krishnam Sangopangostra Pashidam Yagnahi Sankirtana Praye Yajanti Sumedasa. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Nana Sastra Vicharnaika Nipunau Shadadharma Samstapatau Lokanama Hitakarino Tribhuane Manyau Sharanyakarau Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Ananden Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalako. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatana Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, and Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizing and studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the 3 worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narom Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashtaprayeshwa Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtati. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Jai Shri Govindamadi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All good Shri Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada, I sent you a few minutes ago my PowerPoints. Did you receive that? Hello, Shri Prabhupada, can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
If you can show me the PowerPoints, okay? Show the PowerPoints. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. So, this is the slide that you're probably going to see every week. This gives you the overall, the entire course that shows you right in this single slide. And I sent you that the PPTX version also, just a few minutes ago. But it's okay. Now we will manage. that you see in this yellow box, lesson 3, L3, that is the one which we are going to do. We already done lesson 1 and 2, as it shows here. Lesson 1 was the inauguration and introduction, and lesson 2 we did a preview. I walked you through the entire course. So in earnest, we are going to do, where the course is going to begin from today onwards with lesson 3. And so anybody who is a spiritually oriented author, when he begins his book, he first offers what's called Mangalacharana, invoking auspiciousness, you know. So here, Jagadananda Prabhu, the author of this book, his book, Prema Vivarta, I already explained to you what is Prema Vivarta, but just to make you understand and remember correctly, Vivarta, that is really, it's actually meaning is transformation. What you see, that is not reality. He used to quarrel all the time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he's a great lover of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His anger, that what we see is not really an offense on his part, but really his love, extreme love, deep love, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at that time, he was acting as sannyasi with strict vows, and Jagadananda Prabhu could not tolerate such austerities and penances that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was undergoing. So sometimes he used to really argue very vehemently and so on like that. So that anger, that what you see is not really offense, but his deep love, just like mother sometimes discipline her child, same way here too, you know. And remember, another thing that we noted, Jagadananda Prabhu is really his most confidential associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right from his childhood, they were schoolmates, and they used to quarrel all the time, you know. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tolerated him because he knew, because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he knew that whatever he was doing was out of his great love. Love, that is prema. So prema vivarta, you know, just to make sure that you understand that. So let's start that. So first, the author offers his Mangalacharana, invoking auspiciousness. But before I begin, I want to tell you a few things here. You know, it is really a very difficult course. In fact, a lot of courses that I've conducted and I've been conducting, each of them present their own difficulties, complexities, you know, magnitude and so on like that. And each of them required a specific way of handling, okay? So here also, I faced the same issue here. Remember, at the time when I was going here, all these things, I had no idea, but we were conducting Narada Bhakti Sutra at the time, you know, just a few weeks ago, and we completed Narada Bhakti Sutra, but at the same time, I had been preparing PowerPoints for the subsequent courses, okay, and that is Madhurya Kadambini, and I completed all the PowerPoints for the entire course, and that we will begin right tomorrow onwards, you know, Madhurya Kadambini. But still down the line is Sri Jaiva Dharma, a 48 lesson course. So when I started doing that, as I was going through that, I realized the principal character, Jaiva Dharma, actually that was presented in a novel form, in a story form, you know. The principal character is Premadas Babaji. Don't worry about now. we'll go through that. But he emphasized this Prema Vivarta every day is to recite, So it's immediately struck me how important is Prema Vivarta course. Okay, so in order to really fully grasp the significance, the importance of Sri Jaiva Dharma course, it's a really incredible course. I can tell you right now, and Srila Prabhuji has been emphasizing for quite a few weeks now. Jaiva Dharma is really incredible course. So here, I realize in order to properly understand and realize its significance, we need to know Prema Vivarta. But there was not much time left, So somehow I squeezed this Prema Vivarta, and I wanted to give you the entire Prema Vivarta just before we get to start Sri Jaiva Dharma. And I hardly had enough time, barely 16 lessons that I could squeeze in. But look at my dilemma. When I really started deeply studying Prema Vivarta and doing my lesson planning, and see, just like a movie producer, movie director, he is a story writer. Of course, story writer consults with a screenwriter, and they write the screen format, and the director has to grasp everything, and he has to see how he's going to do that, how he's going to start shooting the movie, with the actors and characters and all these things. So here the same issue I also faced here, Immediately I realized the incredible magnitude, the massive amount of information Jagadananda Prabhu puts in his Prema Vivarta book, and the complexity. Okay, just to give you an example, just to give you some sense of it, when he discusses the chanting of the Harinam Mahamantra, that is the hallmark of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and his book is all about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So obviously he has to deal with this Hare Krishna Mahamantra in great depth. Over 200 verses he devotes on that. So as a compiler of this course, as a presenter of this course, I immediately realized how am I going to do in this 16 lessons, that much only the time I had before we start Jaiva Dharma. That's all I have, So in 16 lessons, this massive amount of information, complexity, I have to squeeze in and present to you in a way, simplified way, so that you could understand. Otherwise, my whole labor is of no use, If I present something, if you don't understand, if I don't explain properly, then it doesn't serve any purpose, Somehow, I'm going to try to do it. So what I've decided, each court presents its own issues, like I told you before. Sri Ujjwal Nilamani, Sri Radha Tattva. I had nothing, Radha Tattva when we did, not a single book that could do proper justice. So many books I had to do and compile, present it together. So here also I face the same issue. So here is what I'm decided about how I'm going to do it. Okay. And it is very important that I show you, I present to you in the author's own words, because this author, Jagadananda Prabhu, has a very unique style, unlike any other authors, okay? Very unique way of presenting his viewpoint. So I wanted to give you the taste of that too also, but at the same time, in a limited amount of time that we have, and a massive amount of information that I want to present it to you, and in an easily understandable way, how am I going to do it? So what I decided, and then 16 lessons, I have to finish the entire course, okay? Which really deserves the minimum of 36 lessons. So I'm just trying to give you some sense of the issue I was facing. So what I've decided, what I'm going to do now, I will present the way Jagadananda Prabhu writes his book. So we will go verse by verse, okay? But in a limited amount of time to make you understand. So first, I'm going to give you my sense, my way of what I understood, that I'll project you and present to you in my words, okay? Many of the slides. And then we will quickly go through each of the individual verses. So you, prior to going to that, when I explain to you in my own words, the gist of that, what Jagannatha Prabhu is presenting in a given chapter, you already have a pretty good grasp of it, hopefully. And then we will read each of the verses so you will know his perspective, his way of presenting also, okay? So you see my issue here, how I'm going to do it. And so let's give it a try, okay? So beginning with this, we are going to, so first I'm going to give you my view of it, okay? So today, in this third lesson, and remember, in this book, there are 20 chapters, and I'm going to have to do it in 16 lessons. So in these first slides that you see here, there are, as you see, there are 20 chapters. Begin like C, letter C. C stands for chapter. Chapter 1, C1 through C20, and then lessons 1 through 16. So L1 through L16. So L3, as you can see, stands for chapter 1. So that's where this chapter begins, with this Mangalacharana verse. Okay. So invoking auspiciousness, and that verse that he composed, that later on Krishnadas Kaviraj, he put it in his Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishnadas Kaviraj came much later, where Jagadananda Prabhu is the contemporary of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, so in this, he is going to talk about the science of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Okay, but his main target is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So how is he going to connect that? So first he's going to give us the idea of Radha Krishna, how Radha and Krishna are one and the same. Okay, non-different, same individuality. Okay, one soul, inseparable, non-different. But this is what we are going to be talking about, absolute word, absolute truth. So it is quite difficult to conceptualize, understand from our perspective, because we are in the material world. We have a particular viewpoint. We have a two-dimensional thinking, although we know there are three dimensions. But in the spiritual world, not only three dimensions, there's a fourth dimension, there is a fifth dimension. Okay? And in the spiritual world, there's a time, but there is no influence of time. So non-different, and yet there's a difference simultaneously. Okay, so you really have to understand this situation in the complexity that Jagadananda Prabhu faced when he was trying to give us the viewpoint of the absolute truth. So Radha and Krishna, they're one soul, same individuality, no difference, and yet there is a difference. Okay, so you have to understand simultaneous oneness and difference. And this is called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Bheda Abheda Tattva, the science of simultaneous sameness and simultaneous differences. So you have to understand that. Okay, because this is spiritual world we are talking about, and we are in the material world. But Jagadananda Prabhu is trying to give you that idea about it. So next slide, please, Prabhuji. So when Sharad Prabhuji is showing the slide to you, because I could not show it from my this PC, so I'm using two different screens. So for my own, I have a wide screen monitor, 5 feet long, So I'm seeing it here and then discussing with you. So in this slide, what you see here is the invocation verse. Okay, it's in Sanskrit, and then we'll see the English translation. But I'm going to try to explain to you word by word, and really understand. And I understand that's his composition, authors, that Krishnadas Kaviraj put it in his book, Sri Caitanya. So this is chapter 1, the Adi Leela, chapter 1, the verse number 5. Okay, so let's go through that. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikrite, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikrite. So Radha and Krishna, of course, we all know, the divine couple. Pranaya, they love. Okay, they transcended love, not on material platform. Both of them, they are spiritual entities. Okay, and Vikrite, they undergo transformation. Vikriti means transformation. And how does the transformation is bring about? How does it brought about? By Ladini potency. Krishna has three internal potencies, right? Sandhini Shakti, that is eternity. And then there is Samavit Shakti. Samavit Shakti, that's the cognizance, knowledge-giving potency. And then there's a Ladini potency, the pleasure potency. So when Krishna wants to enjoy, he can do only within himself. So from him, he produced. So Radha and Krishna, they are same individuality. Okay, in the later on this verse, you can see the second line. Eka Atmanav. Eka means one. Atma, single Atma, single individuality. Okay, non-different. So Radha and Krishna all in the same body, same soul. When Krishna wanted to enjoy, so from him, he produced Radha Tattva, this Radha, Srimati Radharani, within himself. So left side of the body, that's in Brahma Vivarta Purana, there's a verse for that, by his pleasure potency, by his strength, by his desire to enjoy in loving relationship. So the same individuality, single entity, separates into two, okay, Radha and Krishna. And that is brought about by this Ladini potency, Asmad. So when you say transformation, Vikriti means transformation. So when you talk about transformation, it means from to what, right? So that is the word Asmad, from. From what? From what? Eka Atmanav. That's the next line. Ek Atmanav means one single soul. Both are single soul. Api, even though they are one single entity, Api, but for this Bhuvi, when they, for us, we are earthlings, right? So Pura means that existed single, now split into Deha Bhedam, that body divided into two parts. From the left side of his body, Srimati Radharani appeared, manifested. On the right side, Krishna himself manifested. Okay, Gatau, that happened. Okay, Tau means these two individuality. Then Chaitanya Akhyam, about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's what the author now is introducing this. He's going to talk about science of Krishna, Radha and Krishna. Okay, so they are one individuality, separate into two, but that two come back into one again in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Pragatam, manifesting. Aduna, now. Okay, Pura means before, but now in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, these two individuality separated, coming back in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tadvayam, dvi means two, right? These two individualities merge into single, again, back again. Ekam into one. Echa means and, ekam means one. Two into one, back again. Aptam, obtain, attain. Radha Bhava Duty. So how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared? Hey, Prabhu. So Radha Bhava. So Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is Krishna. He came in the Radha Bhava, in the mood, in the emotional status of Radha Bhava. Duty means Radha's luster, the complexion. Okay, she has a golden complexion, whereas Krishna has a dark complexion. Okay, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself appeared as Radha, but he took two things from Radharani. Okay, first took the Radharani's bhava, emotion, love for Krishna, and also Radharani's complexion. Duty means this luster, very effulgent, bright, golden, molten gold complexion. Suvalitam, Naomi, Krishna Swarupam, saying Krishna's Swarupa came. Okay, so now in this translation, what I just explained you word by word, the loving affairs of Sri Radha and Sri Krishna are transcendental manifestation of the Lord's internal pleasure giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, non-different, inseparable, and yet different and separated. See, that is the spiritual world. It's very difficult to conceptualize in our two-dimensional thinking. Okay, so I'll give you an example. The fan, ceiling fan or table fan, has a number of blades, right? Mostly it is 3 blades, right? Or sometimes it's 5 blades. But when it's moving, dynamics, then you don't see individual blades. You see continuous in 360-degree rotation in its dynamic form. You cannot see a single blade. Continuously, all the time, each blade is going around everywhere. So gives us an impression that it's everywhere. One blade does not come in different, right? It comes, but still it gives us that kind of understanding to us, to the onlooker. So here also something similar like that. So, so their identity previously, they separated themselves. Now these two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So now he is saying, I bow down to him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radha. So Radha Bhava and Radha complexion, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. Okay, and Radha Tattva course, we already discussed why Krishna did that. Because he was greatly mad and he was perplexed why Radharani loves him so much. Okay? And what is it specialty within him? His beauty and his sweetness. He wanted to experience himself. That's why he came as himself and in Radha Bhava. Okay? So I just explained you in words, but picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So I'm going to show you pictorially what I just explained to you. But this is very important for you to understand. This is the this essence of the entire Prema Vivarta course, okay? So here in this picture you see, now, Sharad Prabhu, I sent him original slides, so he could not show animation. But that is one by one show. So let's show one picture, okay? So that picture you see, Radha and Krishna combined as he was before, right? So in the on the right side is Krishna himself. On the screen we see on the left side, right? But it's on the right side. So with his with feather, a peacock feather crown that he has, and his blue complexion that you see, and his left side is Srimati Radharani, golden complexion. So they are all one in the same entity, right? Now what happens? Separate into two, Radha and Krishna, right? See that on the picture there? And then and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Both are in the same, Krishna and Radha. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, but you look at his complexion, very effulgent, golden complexion, that is of Srimati Radharani. And he carries the most important point you have to understand, that he has the emotion bhava of Srimati Radharani. Krishna goes completely by book. Okay, karmas, whatever we have, he will assign that. But Radharani said, no, whether or not my devotee is qualified or not, I will give him the Krishna Prema. That is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is the mercy of Srimati Radharani. And that's what he carries that. So now see pictorially, and then look at the next one. We see that in the center, that circular, that motion, that there's these things is not static. This transformation that I'm just explaining to you is not static. It's just like a fan. It has 3 or 5 blades, but when it is dynamics, you don't see a single blade, right? So this thing is continuously ongoing. You can, so Jagadanath Prabhu says that in the one of the slides that you'll see that for us too difficult to conceptualize, because immediately, because we are two-dimensional thinking, okay? Immediately you wonder when this thing happened, when Krishna and Radha were together, when they split into 2 and then again come back into 1. So immediately for us, two-dimensional thinker, it immediately question is when happened, how happened, and when it's going to be over. No, it's nothing like that. It's all the time is there, continuous, just like fan is moving around, circling. You cannot see a blade, single blade, all the time everywhere. So all these things are there all the time, continuously. Okay, next slide, please. It's a very difficult concept, So I want you to understand that. And then we will read his own verses, okay? So that you will understand from his own words. But what he's trying to tell us, that I explain the way I understood it. So this is the way I'm going to operate for the rest of the course, entire course, like that. Very, very complex subject matter, massive amount, and a very limited time period I'm trying to present to you in 16 lessons. Okay, so you have to bear with me and understand my task, and only you can tell me how far I will be successful. Next slide. So see here, now this lesson 3, this particular chapter, no, probably previous slide. So there are 54 verses in this Mangalacharana chapter. Okay, it's just the Mangalacharana is one verse, but he discusses in this complex, he needed 54 texts. He could have done massive amount, he put it in one single book. He could have done volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. No, he didn't do it. Everything he put it in one book, one volume, okay? And so many different subject matters he's introducing us. So first text 1 to 10, he's explaining how Radha Krishna, they were one unit, single unit, indivisible, non-different individuality, separate into 2 individuality, and coming back. So first Radha and Krishna. So Radha and Krishna combined together, separate, and they enact the sweet pastimes in Vraja. Because now he's talking about Radha and Krishna only, okay? So that is a Vraja Leela. So science of Radha Krishna is explained in first 10 verses. Then 11 to 17, he's saying the absolute truth is unknown to the mental speculators. So this defies our material logic. For us, very difficult to understand. So right up front, he's telling us that don't even try to understand like that. From a material viewpoint, you will never ever understand even 1,000 years. Because we think philosophically, logically, this defies that. Material logic, this philosophy, philosophically you cannot understand mental speculation. Only way, bhaktya mam abhijanati. Krishna says, only through bhakti, devotional service, you can understand me as I am. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is Jagadananda Prabhu author. He is explaining us also right up front. He's warning us, just keep aside your material logic, mental philosophy, keep aside. Okay. Then 18 to 27, there is no, so because he is talking about the spiritual world, there is no past, present, and future. Okay, so in the spiritual world, it is very difficult to conceptualize again for us, There is no past, no yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And yet there is sun rising, sun setting in spiritual world for the pleasure of Krishna. But still there is no past, present, future. It's everything is in present now. You cannot say was or will be. Now. Everything is now, constantly dynamic. There is no consideration of time, place, and so on. No two-dimensional thinking, no three-dimensional thinking, fourth, fifth dimension. So that is what the absolute truth is all about. Sri Radha Krsna or Sri Caitanya. Then he's saying that how they're back, coming again in one individuality. So then he's going to talk about text 40 to 44, the particular characteristics of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So his Chaitanya Leela will then begin. The whole book is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then, because just as Krishna, he is Krishna. Okay. So just like Krishna is bodily effulgence, is Brahman, and his Paramatma Rupa in everyone's heart, right? Same with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, bodily effulgence is Brahman, and he also has Paramatma form, also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's plenary expansion. And Bhagavan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is Bhagavan also. So everything that applies to Krishna applies to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he is Krishna, but in a Radha Bhava and Radha Duty, the complexion of Srimad Radharani. Let's move on. So now we are going to be getting deeper and deeper complexity now. So now he is beginning with the science of Radha and Krishna, which I already explained to you, but now we will read in his own words. So he says he's bowing down again and again to the indivisible and yet divided, right? Two extreme, two opposites together. Indivisible, non-dual, absolute, the essence of all truth. Okay, Radha Krishna combined first. Then the absolute sometimes into two, as Radha and Krishna, through his Ladini potency, because Krishna wants to enjoy within himself. Then sometimes one as Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the supreme being. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. He is the supreme personality of Godhead. Just like Krishna, even though when he incarnates, even the animal form, boar formation, in fish formation, as turtle, all these different animal species also he comes, but he always remains the supreme. Never ever forget. Even his boar incarnation, his fish incarnation, he remains the supreme. And if and when he needed, he would utilize his divinity. Fourth, truly there is no difference between the two, okay, Radha and Krishna, yet there is a distinction. So like simultaneous, oneness and different, undivided, divided. Two, one, again two. There is no difference between the two, yet there is a distinction all the time. Okay. All the Vedas glorify this inconceivable difference and non-difference. Veda, Abheda, Tattva. There are three aspects of the absolute energy: Sandhini Shakti, Samavit Shakti, and Ladini Shakti. All this I already explained you up front. I spent a lot of amount of my time for that. Six, because now we are reading, hearing in his own words. Six, the absolute manifest himself through his three energies. So everything that Krishna does is the interaction, dynamic interaction with his three different potencies. That's how Krishna operates, functions all the time. Seven, in the undivided absolute truth, pure emotions are eternally exhibited due to the dynamic exchange. So this dynamic reality, you really have to understand. You really have to see it from that point of view. Yet the energy and the energy. So I told you they are non-different, right? Non-different, and yet they're different. How do we understand that? Because non-different means just like energy and the person who has that energy, you cannot differentiate. Sun, its rays, you cannot differentiate. And yet there's a difference, right? Energy is different from the energetic person and his personality. Non-different, but still there's a different person is person, and he has a particular personality that also is different, right? Same difference. So the 8th point, the Ladini potency separates the absolute into two and makes Radha and Krishna pastimes in Vraja, Vrindavan. 9th point, the pleasure potency is the transformation of ecstatic love between Radha and Krishna. It's all about loving. That's the spiritual transcendental love. This is what we're going to show. Jagadannatha Prabhu is preparing us. Leave aside your material logic. Then you will never understand. If you're going to see from the prism of material lens, you will never say that. You will never understand that because it will never make sense. This is all spirituality. 10th point, the pleasure potency is endowed with the supreme power of bringing about unusual circumstances, unusual things that you are going to hear. The author is pre-warning us what you are going to about to hear. It will not make sense. But from a bhakti point of view, if you think and read, then you will understand. Because Krishna within us is going to make us understand. Next slide, please. So now, the absolute truth is unknown to the mental speculators for us. And what is our difficulty to grasp this, what is going to talk to us? Now an unprecedented proposition has arisen that speculators do not understand. Even if they think about it hundreds of thousands of years, they will never understand if you think it from that point of view. Only those whom Krishna blesses, they understand. And how? By devotional service, by bhakti. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Others will never understand. Even after thinking about hundreds of thousands of years, there's the same thing repeated. The Ladini Shakti is the transformation of Radha and Krishna's ecstatic love. So he's telling us what we are going to be, what is our task. Just like as the planner of this course, I had the task and how I resolve that, how I'm resolving that I explained to you, right? I give you from my perspective, how I understood it, from the author's perspective will say, and that's how we are going to do it. So here also, author is also saying the same thing. The Ladini Shakti is a transformation, dynamic transformation, okay? The fan, 3 blades are constantly moving circular in a high speed. You cannot see when it's moving each of the individual blades, but they are there, okay? So when the Radha and Krishna manifest as two, then there's a loving exchange between them, and that kind of exchange they have is beyond our conception, beyond our ability to understand. Only through bhakti we can understand. Before they manifested in two separate bodies, there was no transformation. How then did the one from... So Jagannath Prabhu is posing the question that might arise in our mind. So he's telling us, he's pre-warning us, these questions will come, will arise in your mind, okay? Because we are thinking from our perspective, we are dogmatized because we are earthlings, but he's taking us to the spiritual world. The only answer to this question is that the science of Krishna is always beyond the jurisdiction of material place and time. So leave aside that. Next slide, please. So you can see the degree of complexity is increasing now. But I already explained to you beforehand. So now it's easy for you to grasp, hopefully. So number 18, within material existence, you see the influence of time, awareness of past and present, but in the spiritual it's not there. There is no morning, afternoon, evening, and yet there is morning, afternoon, evening is there. That's what you need to grasp, okay, for Krishna's pleasure. But in reality, everything is present there. Every moment is present moment there, okay. So within the material existence, you see the influence of time, awareness of past and future are natural within the material existence, but not in the spiritual world, not there when we talk about absolute truth. In divinity, however, there is no past, no future. There is only the eternal present, which is indescribable. In simple words, you cannot describe it. You have to understand through the heart, through emotions, through bhava. Divinity is beyond thought and description. Mental thought is never going to help you describe it. So the author is preparing us before we actually enter in it, pre-warning us and to what lens, what prism you're going to look at it. And the ears, transcendental hearing is required. We never find faults in divinity. By definition, divinity is perfect, right? The same way you understand that. Brother, everything is harmonized. Jagannath Prabhu. So throughout the book, you'll see he addresses brother. Brother means us. He's telling us, that everything that may or may not make sense to you now, but eventually it will, because spirituality, everything is harmonized. Everything is perfect, logical, no samshaya, no doubts, no misgivings. By the absolute inconceivable energy. Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam. Vidyate Hriday Granthi Chidyate Sarvasamashaya Shyanti Chasya Karmani Drash Evatmani Ishware. That is how we are going to understand Krishna, Radha and Krishna. And that's how we are going to understand Chaitanya Leela. So there is never any sense of before and after. Forget that. Throw it out of your mind. Before and after. Everything is present. There's the state of being divided and undivided, which we see within the absolute simultaneously. The one unity divided, coming back again together. So this is what the absolute simultaneously you see that everything is ongoing. You cannot say when they were together, when they separated, when they became united. Don't ask the question when. It's all the time. Fan is moving. You cannot see individual blades. At every degree of the 360 degree, each of the blades is there. The absolute has contradictory natures. It to seem to us material eyes, to material thinking, it looks like inconceivable. It's not possible. It defies logic. But which logic? Material logic. This is one of the absolute astonishing qualities. Without having manifest, the Ladini Shakti still acts expertly. Okay? Prior to her manifestation, Radharani, she makes Radha and Krishna, so that's the Ladini potency he's talking about. And Ladini potency is personified, not just entity. Everything that is there in spiritual, there's a persona behind that. Mountains, rivers, everything, there's a persona behind that. So is energy also persona behind that. Then manifested herself as a transformation of love between them. The eternally present, absolutely is free from the faults of time. Time is there, but no influence of time. The non-dual absolute and Radha Krishna are simultaneously existence, eternal and all spiritual. Next slide, please. So normally it is a break time, but since we are running out of time, we'll continue. This is an exception, okay? Normally I like to give you a break. But we are seeing, we are visualizing, we are experiencing this dynamic phenomena right unfolding in front of our eyes. Okay, so there should not be a break in that. So when there's suspense is going on, you're at the end of your seat, biting your nail. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Then somebody says, no, wait, let's take a break. cannot break. You're dying to find out what it is. Thus the two, Radha and Krishna, have now become one and manifest as my Lord Chaitanya. So now he's introducing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, okay? Radha and Krishna now, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. See how intelligently he's introducing his subject. Okay? And he's now emphasizing, he said now, quote unquote now, but do not make a temporal distinction. Remember that there are no such distinctions in divinity. Radha and Krishna existed and then become Lord Chaitanya. You cannot say that they existed one time and now this. It cannot say existed or existing or will exist. No past, no present, no future. All the time it is there. Each of the blades of a fan, you cannot see it. All the time, every degree of 360-degree revolution, each of the blades are there. Which blade can first, which blade can last, you cannot differentiate. Brother, if you consider that the world, Ek Atma, one soul, means Sri Chaitanya, and that he will become Radha and Krishna together, then you make a temporal distinction, then you say, there is no temporal aspect of it. They are all the time there, different and same all the time. And it is present now. So you cannot say past, now, future. Everything is happening right. Who was first? You cannot say who was first, Radha and Krishna or Sri Chaitanya. He's pre-warning, he's preparing us, the author. This kind of question should not arise in your mind. There is no answer to that. You cannot say when Radha and Krishna were together, separate, and when Chaitanya appeared, and when Chaitanya was again going to be separate himself back again. No. It's all the time it is there. Fan is moving. I have already said that everything within divinity existed in the present. So be cautious without arguing over Sri Chaitanya and Sri Krishna. You can never say that. Sri Chaitanya and Sri Krishna existed simultaneously and eternally. And they're indivisible, non-dual. So you don't think that only for earthly pastime Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. He is there in spiritual world also all the time. We understand that the transformation of their love, the Ladini Shakti, simultaneously maintains them both. So it's the Krishna's incredible, inconceivable potency that brings about that reality. The Chaitanya Prabhu now manifest in the manifest world. So now he is seeing the divinity right in front of him, unfolding. The author I'm talking about. He is the contemporary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is seeing right there the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So all the questions that he may have, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I'm sure, must be clarifying him for him. And he's helping him to write this book. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's eternal other associate, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, all other personalities are also there to educate the author. Sri Chaitanya's pastimes are more than Sri Krishna's pastimes. The transformation of love within them are the most intense. Intensity is mind-boggling that you're going to see. Intensifying the chest, Ladini potency, lovingly envelop Krishna with the heart and halo of Radha. He's talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has the heart, the bhava, the emotions, and he has that effulgence of Radharani. So that golden Krishna appeared to fulfill his desires. And his desire was to enjoy within himself. When he can enjoy within himself, that is within him himself. So to enjoy, he separated Radharani. Radharani is an integral part of Krishna. Next slide, please. So now particular characteristics of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. See how methodically he brought us to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The form of Sri Chaitanya is Krishna's wonderful manifestation in the form of Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya, incomparably enchanting form. So that shows his love. this incredible love he has for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has the same kind of enchantment, beauty and sweetness combined together within himself. Okay, and still he has the heart of Radharani. Incredible. The two forms manifested by the pleasure potency are supremely sweet and enchanting, sweetness and beauty. They are sweeter than the sweetest nectar, and even sweeter still. We cannot say to what degree sweetness is there. It's unlimited, unlimited. Never there is a beginning, never there is an end. I constantly offer my obeisances with devotion. See how with his great affection, great emotion, the author, I can imagine when he's writing, he's composing these particular words, how he must have undergone that. He's full of emotions when he's now about to unfold Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own heart to all of us. Falling to the ground, Sashtang Dandavat Pranam, that picture I showed you before. 43, some may say that the word Ek Atma, so now he's saying, he's thinking some of us may still be in that kind of material form. So they might think this, because he told us the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also Brahman, his bodily effulgence, he's also Paramatma, and he's also Bhagavan. So the other philosophers, material philosophers, logicians, they might think that he's Brahman, that he's talking about is really, because he's supposed to be Ekatma. So it refers the impersonal Brahman, it formed that the personal form Sri Radha and Krishna in an impersonal way. But there is no impersonality within Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's telling us. So don't think that Brahman is like, just like for Krishna, you know. So such a conclusion, however, cannot be the intended meaning of the verse. The verse says that Chaitanya Akhyam, it's all about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you have to understand that he is not impersonal. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is really Bhagavan himself. And he has within himself, just like Krishna, within himself, Brahman and Paramatma within himself. Next slide, please. Brahman is Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya is never the impersonal Brahman. He is never impersonal. It is bodily effulgence that is impersonal. He has transcendental form, which is full of transcendental bliss and ecstatic transformation, just exactly like Krishna, because he is Krishna. Impersonal Brahman is the effulgence emanating from his transcendental body. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also in all transcendental. There is no material tinge within him. Therefore, fortunate and learned scholars like Swarup Damodar Goswami realize Mahaprabhu as the meaning and purport of the word Ek Atma. One soul split into two, back again one. And this other confident associate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Swarup Damodar Goswami. They are all going to help the author. And there is a question and answer format between them two that we are going to see in the later part of the book. Offer your respect. So now he's telling us we also offer, just like he's doing it, we also offer respectful obeisances under the transcendental truth of Ek Atma. By doing so, you will obtain the service. And now there is there is the benediction of hearing this Prema Vivarta. That if you do that, we will get the love, the transcendental love of Sri Radha and Krishna. And all your desires will be fulfilled. Next slide, please. And same is Paramatma, the super soul. Some may say that the word Ekatma refers to the super soul. No, that can never be intended meaning of the verse, because the word Chaitanya Akhya is known as Chaitanya is completely contradictory to this thing. So you can never think like that, because the verse he composed, it says Chaitanya Akhya is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Understand that Chaitanya is the original absolute truth. And you should always realize that the super soul is his plenary expansion, exactly like Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also resides in our heart. The absolute truth, without a second, is the joint form of Sri Radha and Krishna. That same truth is the wonderful, wonderful Lord of my heart. See, that's his love is pouring out, oozing out from his heart. So that what I'm telling you is my loving Lord, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Then I am his maid servant, because he is Radharani. His Krishna came as Radharani, and he is the servant of Radharani, Swamini. So he said, I'm the maid servant of my Swamini, Sri Radha. And I love a form that's fully adorned, so that Radha Krishna is right in front of him. The son of Sri Sachi is greater than the greatest. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him by falling flat to the ground. So he's paying his sashtang dandavat pranama in great ecstasy, in great emotion. The tears are rolling from his eyes. His heart is crying. His mind is crying. Haribol. Hare Krishna. So I hope you understand the difficulty and complexity, how I'm resolving. I give you my own sense, my own understanding, and then we will read in his own verses, in his own words, and that's how we are going to be able to get into the depth, dive into the ocean of this great, 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 wonderful, transcendental reality that we are going to get into it. Haribol. I'm sorry I took a lot more time today. Let's see if we take some few questions. But this is what the preview of the entire book that the author opened this for us. Haribol. So let's take the slide off. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
Prabhuji, it is also so wonderful class, Prabhuji, so wonderful class.
Thank you.
ये श्लोका हम हर रोज बोलते हैं प्रभुजी.
Oh, really? The
In our
same.
class. हाँ, yes प्रभुजी.
That's wonderful.
प्रभुजी, yes प्रभुजी.
बोलिए.
हाँ प्रभुजी. ये जो आपने बताया भेदा भेद, तो उसको अचिंत्य भेदा भेद भी कह सकते हैं ना प्रभुजी.
Achintya, yeah, that is exactly. Achintya means inconceivable. From a material point, you cannot understand. It would not never make sense. That's why it is inconceivable. Bheda and abheda, simultaneous difference and non-difference.
Yes, प्रभुजी. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Any other points, questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Prabhuji, like you said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always present in the spiritual world, not just Radha and Krishna, Bhagavan. So he is Radha and Krishna only. So because we cannot, because he is the Supreme Personality, so whenever he would want to experience the love that Radharani is feeling for him, that time he can, he would be taking he would get into the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and so how, like, whenever Lord wants to feel that bhav, he comes into Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or it's that all of them are there. So
Mataji, the very word when, there is no word when in this case. It's happening all the time. Now, happening all the time. It's a continuing process. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Krishna wants to have a pleasure purposely, so always arranging Radhini Shakti. So he's constantly with Radharani, and Radharani is with him all together. That means when we talk about Krishna and Radha, that we are talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he's always there.
Oh, okay.
So you cannot say when, but the word when never occurs here. When you cannot use the word whenever.
All right.
Yeah,
so
you.
it is really as confusing as it was in Prakata, Aparakata form, and then
Yeah.
lawfully wedded
Prakata
wives.
form is the material world, right? Krishna,
Yeah,
the material world is Prakata form, but in the spiritual world, he's always there, manifest form.
yeah, correct. So how could you understand, like how could you get into this thing of, because the topic is really very deep, so how could you kind of got the essence of it? It's really very confusing.
Bhaktya map avijanati. You have to wear the glasses of bhakti. Prema bhakti, from that prism, from that glasses you have to wear in order to see that. And the heart must be full of emotions. And you have to separate yourself from the material world.
Correct.
That's how we do. So when I read, when I study all these things, I get so much engrossed. Sometimes I'm totally become oblivious of my surroundings.
Prabhuji, I want to share one thing
Please.
with all of you. प्रभुजी, ड्यूरिंग लॉकडाउन पीरियड हम लोग ने पूरा चैतन्य चरितामृत पढ़ा, मध्य लीला, आदि लीला तक. मतलब अभी हमें मालूम पड़ रहा है कि चैतन्य महाप्रभु की ब्लेसिंग्स हमें फील हो रही है, क्योंकि मैं इतना सारे स्क्रिप्चर्स आगे आगे पढ़ ही रही हूँ. मतलब उनका जो करुणामयी भाव है वो रियल में हमें फील हो रहा है, क्योंकि हम अभी चैतन्य भागवत भी पढ़ रहे हैं. तो माय गुडनेस, इतना अमेजिंग है. तो जो भी हम लोग मतलब आज जो भी अगर कोई भी फेस्टिवल है तो वो तुरंत ही वो चैप्टर में भी आता है प्रभु जी. सो इट इज सेड ना कि लाइव पर्सोनिफिकेशन ऑफ ऑल द स्क्रिप्चर्स आर पर्सोनिफाइड. तो रियली हम लोग फील कर रहे हैं प्रभु जी.
Thank you,
अगर शिवरात्रि आती है तो वो शिव के बारे में आएगा, वो चैप्टर आता है. कल ही की बात बताती हूँ कि गदाधर पंडित जी का कल अपीयरेंस डे था. तो वेरी हम लोग ना कल क्लास शुरू हुआ, फर्स्ट गदाधर पंडित जी का ही नाम आया. तो हम लोग फील कर रहे हैं कि वो ब्लेसिंग हमें मिल रहा है, ऐसा लग रहा है.
No, एक बात मुझे आपसे क्लियर कहना चाहिए, and let me speak in English so that others can understand. What you're saying is perfect, but the difference I want to point out. What you are talking Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, written by Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami and here Navas Thakur, right? They are telling us things that happened before, right? But this Jagadana Prabhu is bringing into that particular moment when that's being happening, unfolding. That's a big difference.
Yes, Prabhuji. This is the blessing that I will.
Now, please listen to me. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavata, they're telling something that happened so many years back, right? But this author is taking us back to those moments when it's happening. That's a big difference.
Yes,
Prabhuji, that's why he's taking us there.
Yes, this is my fortunate, Prabhuji. This is my fortune to this Prema Vivarta.
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Haribol. Other questions, comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Haribol.
It's nice to see you that you are fine today. It was an excellent explanation and full of bhavas. Prabhuji, one thing is coming into my mind. Radha was inside Krishna as Aladini Shakti and inside Chaitanya as Bhava. Is it true?
You cannot say was. You use the word was, right? There's no word was or will be. It is. All the time is. Everything is going on.
Yes, Prabhuji.
First beginning you have to make their point, then you will understand that everything is going together all the time.
Yes, that is Radharani is as Hladini Shakti inside Krishna, and inside Chaitanya she is as Bhava.
Hladini potency is the bring about all these transformations. Okay, Krishna's energy potency and Yogamaya potency, they are the one, she is the one who is doing all these things. bringing about all the time, and that's occurring. Occurring means in present tense, present moment. Everything is happening. As we speak, it's happening there. And just we are hearing things like that happened before. It's not like that. When you read, when you hear, you have to understand, you have to get into it, that it is happening right in front of your eyes. As the author is telling us, trying to do us, the author is experiencing all this thing right in front of his eyes. And the Supreme Lord is right in front of him. When he gets in difficulties, Mahaprabhu, first through his associates and through himself, he is constantly there with him. And we are getting the benefit of that viewpoint, the angle of vision that the author is seeing. There's the beauty part of it.
Yes, Prabhuji. Another thing is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is plenary expansion of Sri Krishna means same standard.
No, Mataji, that's where you're wrong. He is not expansion of Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Krishna himself.
It's
He's
Krishna.
not an incarnation of Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's not an expansion.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Okay, got it.
Very good. Good. I'm very glad that the questions are popping up in your mind. Everyone's. That's what I tell you.
That's why in that prayer, Jai Jai Jagannath Chachira Nandan, last line is that Yehi Gaur say Krishna say Jagannath.
हाँ, सच बात है.
तो तीनों एक ही हुए, बराबर है प्रभु.
Thank you. So since last 5 minutes are remaining, I'm going to give that opportunity to Sharad Prabhuji. Remember, this is just the beginning portion, okay? We are just getting into it. Sharad Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. In the very first slide, we learned Radha Krishna Pranaya Bikritir. Now, a very good explanation of this is given by Gaur Govind Goswami Maharaj. What he says, why it is given Pranaya Bikritir? One may think, why not Prema Bikriti? Now, to understand that, we should know, we have already been taught, just to remind you, now we know the stages of bhakti, adau shraddha, tatha sadhu sangha, anartha nivrutti, nishta, ruchi, asakti, bhava, prema, and the gradual development of prema from rati, sneha, mana, pranaya, raga, anuraga, bhava, mahabhava, and in mahabhava, Ruddha Mahabhava, Adhiruddha Mahabhava, Modanaksha Mahabhava, and Madanaksha Mahabhava. Now here, as you see, the Prema Vikritir or Pranaya Vikritir, Pranaya is a much higher stage, and all about that will again be visiting these things. But these things are also given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila, explained like Radhika hai na Krishna pranaya vikara Swarupa Sakti Hladini Nama Yahara. Srimati Radharani is the transformation of Krishna's love, Hladini Shakti, and she is his internal potency called Hladini, and this Hladini energy gives Krishna pleasure and nourishes his devotees. And the essence of Hladini potency is the love of God. The essence of love of God is emotion, that is bhava, and ultimate development of emotion is mahabhava, and that we know Srimati Radharani has got. And Radharani is the embodiment of mahabhava, and she is the repository of all good qualities, and it is known that she is the crest jewel amongst all the consorts of Lord Krishna, all the gopis who meet Krishna every day, because her mind, senses, body, everything they love, they have got love for Krishna, and she is Krishna's own energy, and she helps him in his pastimes. Therefore, Krishna Raj Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he is saying, Radhika Hayana Krishna Pranaya Vikara. Radharani is the transformation of love of Krishna, Pranaya Vikara. When we speak about the love of Radha and Krishna, then the topic of gradual development of Prema, Rati, Sneha, Mana, Pranaya, they come. And the first rise of Prema is Rati. And when it becomes condensed, it becomes Prema. And when it becomes more condensed, it becomes Sneha. And when it becomes more condensed, it becomes Mana. And then when Mana becomes condensed, it becomes Pranaya. Therefore, it is a very high stage of love for Godhead. And that's why it is said by Jagadananda Pandit, he has quoted this verse. This verse actually is spoken by Swarup Damodar Goswami. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I have finished.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So we are almost out of time. So I'm going to request, I don't know if Saga Prabhu is there or Rakshamata, you can do that. Is Saga Prabhu there? Okay,
No,
Rakshamata.
Prabhuji, no Sagar. Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. General pranam to all devotees. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladadayine. Praladadayine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilatankanakalaye. Shilatankanakalaye. Ito Narsimha, Parato Narsimha. Ito Narsimha, Parato Narsimha. Yato yato yami tato Narsimha. Yato yato yami tato Narsimha. Bahir Narsimha, Hridaye Narsimha. Bahir Narsimha, Hridaye Narsimha. Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapate. Tava Kara Kamalavare Nakha Adbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Vringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Ho Narsimha Dev Narsimha Dev Narsimha Dev Jai Ho Narsimha Dev Jai Ho Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jai Ho Prahlad Maharaj Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Shri Prabhupada की जय हो श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा भगवान की जय हो भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की जय हो सर्व प्रभु की जय हो शरद प्रभु की जय हो सर्व डिवोटी की जय हो प्रेमा विवर्ता की जय हो हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम
Thank you, Rakshamata ji. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Govinda Mahadi Bhushan, Tamam Bhajami. So we will continue next Friday in the fourth lesson. But remember, we are also opening up Madhuri Kadambini beginning today. So for you, it's morning.